This is Crossroads. We're gonna be counting how many beans are squatted in together in one place. And we're gonna do that in 5 minutes. We're gonna count from now, as in 0. This is Masakane. Okay, shot. Okay, this is where the cell number 2 as well. Sure. Here, number 3. Here, we go at number 4. Number 5. Right, go inside. Number 6, right? Number 7. Number 7. Number 8. Number 9. Number 10. Okay, also set number 11. 13. 14. 16, right? Like a big juice, right? How many you said? The final one. There's another over there. The final one. Number 18. Oh, good. This place is calmed down, man. I'm telling you. How much will you count now? 18. Rogero was here. Sharp, sharp.
Special occasions. When Jan van der Riebeeck and the Dutch East India Company came, they brought with them Dutch brandy. The first vineyards and brewery was developed, so the Cape had a lot of wine and a lot of very unhappy people. En Ilanis het met dop gepy. Therefore, the dop system and a colony of syplappe.
How many shops are there within 5 minutes of your house where you can buy alcohol?
Wow, quite a lot.
There's an illegal one there.
I recently moved out of OBS, which is like pretty much a drinking capital for me. Within 5 minutes from where I stayed, about 16, it's like pubs, opposite bottle stores, opposite pubs and clubs.
About 20 within 5 minutes drive.
My office is in Sandton. Within 500 to 1,000 meters, I have access to 150 outlets of drinking.
We have somewhere in the region of 30,000 illegal shebeens.
In Khayelitsha, how many places are there within 5 minutes of your house that you can buy alcohol?
1, 2, 3.
I love the question.
There were 4 places, and they were not even 5 minutes walk.
5 minutes too far.
More than 10.
Wherever you go, wherever you turn, every 3rd, 4th house, then you get someone that sells. It's there, it's accessible.
Next major dop development, diamonds and gold.
Cool, blimey, we're rich.
Fortune seekers flooded to Joburg and Kimberley, and the manne were thirsty, it said. Cape wine went fraught by the time it hit Josie, so beer and spirits was the drinks, no? A new distillery was built, en die profits het geskyrocket. Hulle het op die London Stock Exchange geregister. Nou die mynbase het dollar signs gesien, no? En invest in die nuwe distillery en het booze aan die weke self verkoop. Amper oornag was die dorp 'n groot tavern. Murders and crimes was high, and many people just fell over dead. But no one did anything because rich people were making lots of money. Eventually, 1 in 4 ouens was gedisable van die drank. Die mynbase het hul political krag gemobilise en toe was alcohol vir Africans geban. Toe groei die underground Jewish liquor syndicates. Sien jy, die wit mense was die eerste Shabinas, was die Aussie. Come 1909, the government needed dollars to provide services and houses for black people, but didn't want to spend its own money, so they decided African men could drink, but only government-made sorghum beer at government-run beer halls. There were several protests from African leaders.
We want food and money and freedom, not bars.
But no one listened. Eventually, the liquor companies also wanted their share of the profits and started tricking the government to let them sell in the townships. The government needed ka-ching to pay for apartheid, so the ban was lifted. Again, African leaders protested.
Food, money, freedom, not bars.
But no one listened. Drinking houses appeared everywhere and liquor industry sales more than doubled to 420 million rand. Yo! It was still illegal for Africans to sell booze, but many African mamas het Shabeens opgemaak. Hulle customers het gehou van 'n steekdop wat blitsvinnig afgaan voor die polisie kom, sien jy? By 1976, African leaders were protesting against drinking.
No more drinking. Our people are sinking. Stand up, it's your right. Stand up, let's win the apartheid fight.
Since the fall of apartheid and the opening up of trade, the liquor industry has gone off the charts, ek sê. South Africa has the fastest growing liquor industry in the world.
Ons maak die wyn, die mense drink het raak in wyn. Ons maak die wyn, die mense drink het raak in wyn.
We know that alcohol consumption affects both the consumer and the non-consumer.
It's a killing thing in our community.
Our children, today as young as 8 years, 10 years,
shootings are taking place when they are drunk.
Because of alcohol.
Alcohol. Trauma, accidents, injuries.
Alcoholism, violence and fetal alcohol syndrome.
Aanrandings.
Domestic violence.
Growing socioeconomic problems.
They are killing each other. Like the crime rate is very high.
Verkrachtings.
Poverty.
Partykeer is hy nie geld vir kosie.
The greatest downfall of our people is liquor.
South African consumers consumes over 5 billion liters of alcohol per year.
Nou, as u kennis dra van 30,000 onwettige Sabine, wat is die regering van plan om te doen?
I think you're asking for trouble.
We have to find a way on how we ensure that there is less access to alcohol in our community.
They must be more strictly to the underages.
At the moment, we're presenting 350 Shabinas in the Cape Flats area.
Shabin sector must be held accountable. Government must hold industry accountable.
There's talk of war.
Less wine sales means less income for the company.
There are many stakeholders and emotions are running very high.
The overwhelming cry is shut down Shabeens in residential areas.
Something that's been agreed across all political parties in the legislature, that we actually don't want trading in residential areas.
Today in Cape Town, hundreds of angry Shabinas marched in protest after their hopes of being legalized were destroyed by the new Western Cape Liquor Bill.
Die liquor bill was baie onregverdig. Abuse are thousands of years old. Abuse wasn't born yesterday with the Shabeens.
It doesn't matter whether you buy it at a Shabeen or at a liquor store or at a tavern. If people are violent, they will be violent.
These are all the robberies, this is all the thefts, this is all the rapes. You get all these little dots there. Then we said to them, give us where all the Shabeens are. And you'll be amazed, there's the dot where the Shabeen is and all these cases around it.
Hoe minder daar Shabeens is in die kleerling woonbuurt, hoe beter kan ons 'n toekoms vorentoe kan hê.
Hoe gaan jy vir jou besigheid doen? Hoe gaan jy geld maak? Hoe gaan jy jou kinders laat dinge se eet?
This is my bread and butter, you know what I'm saying? And I'm prepared to die for it.
This is about poverty. This is about apartheid, legacies of apartheid.
The first problem is that there was no zoning, so there was no areas earmarked for commercial activity, and shebeens sprung up.
They want a place where it's easy for them to be reached, where they can sit and enjoy themselves and entertain themselves.
The issue of having the infrastructure, of having entertainment centers in those communities, cinemas, and then normal life that people can have an alternative to go to. It has to happen that the kids will know drinking is not the only thing to do.
Liquor is a legal substance. The only thing that makes liquor illegal is if you haven't got a paper to sell it.
We've done an analysis. 6,635 licenses issued by the Western Cape Liquor Board. Only 305 belongs to blacks and coloreds in the Western Cape. So the disparities are very alarming. I've got Mrs. Zide here. She had applied before. She had paid 8.5, but she never got a license. Today, she's still illegal.
They apply licenses since 2002 until Ngoku, and then they are rejected.
And the reasons he was rejected? Maybe we can go into his file. Zoning, informal residence. The zoning does not permit the operation of a tavern.
Our liquor officer, BXC, told us once, as long as he's a police officer here in Knysna, we will not get the liquor license, and this is his down.
The government needs to facilitate, not be walking around a big stick. They should be coming around to the Shabinas and saying, how can we help you regulate? How can we help you get on board?
Maybe we should say to the Shabeens, let's look at this road here and say, are you prepared to move your Shabeen to that road? If we come to you and say, we'll recognize business in that road.
Whether it be linear along a road that could be termed as a commercial zone, or whether it be a commercial zone outside of a residential area but adjoining it, that we'll have to decide. Then we need to say to all unlicensed traders, you will not get a license no matter what in a residential area. If there is a legally licensed, zoned, correct business that's operating in a residential area, they have to make a choice, either restricted hours or make the move.
Maybe this is the solution for everyone. Communities, government, the liquor traders, the industry. Because we are really inconveniencing our residential, which is already packed.
There should be a liquor industry available to people near their homes. We have no problem with that. It's just a question of how many people there should be selling liquor to particular sizes of communities. And let's divert Shabinas into other trades. For example, the transport system for drunk drivers and drunk walkers.
Business is business. We are willing to trade in anything.
We also need to see that there are lesser Shabinas. We are prepared to work even with that with the city. But we want you to see our needs really, because there is a big problem.
You know what it means? A street that has had 5 small unproductive Shabeens is standing a chance of having one multi-purpose, business-orientated area where for the very first time in our lives, people will start enjoying or experiencing economic productivity. Shabinas are everybody's enemy. Churches, they are praying about us. Communities are crying. Faith society is crying. Civil society is crying. Labor is crying. The liquor traders are crying. Government is crying. Hence we cry for need for commercial zoned land. But that cry has been answered. They will identify special economic zones.
I challenge anybody moving with a gun boot and a heavy jack boot to close the Shebins. They will be back tomorrow.
Thank you for the challenge. We will be taking it up.
We have to change. We are no longer pre-1994.
Sometimes we have to go in with the police and the bulldozers.
The zero tolerance is actually what we need. Let's get ready!
No government, regardless of how powerful it is, has ever been in a position to legislate against survival.
Simply by reducing trading hours of liquor outlets from 3 a.m. to 11 p.m., there was a 44% decrease in murders. Their changes in legislation were effective. Ours can be too.
So there's no argument that we shouldn't regulate, but we also need to enforce.
You know, alcohol shares one thing with the sex industry. They are the oldest industries. And the way you deal with them, you cannot deal with them overnight.
Because the industry has been around so long, and even if you fight with it, it will be there. If we had an attitude, then we would still be living in apartheid.
We cannot keep on doing wrong things because we've been doing them for the last 15 years.
That we can do a selected, targeted, focused intervention in the areas with highest alcohol harms, I believe that is possible.
I can almost tell you are going to fail and it won't be of my causing.
There seems to be a perception that limiting the hours of trade will limit the social evils which is caused by alcohol addiction. We don't believe this is so.
Research in Sweden, which goes back 250 years, on data on every single citizen they have in that country, has shown quite convincingly that times in their history when alcohol has been freely available in the population, crimes of violence go up accordingly.
And really, it's about proactive versus reactive policing.
The illegal Sabines, we went to them and we had meetings with them. We asked them to close right around about 8 o'clock. We didn't have a lot of murders over that period. We could be in a position to reduce our contact-related crimes, and that helped us a lot.
Economically, it would be the height of foolhardiness to destroy your major contributor to your GDP in the conditions of such great unemployment. The liquor industry is a massive player in the economy of the country. You are talking of 32 billion. It's a source of jobs, and those jobs range from growing natural resources through to retailing.
There's a concentration of the economic benefits. Virtually the entire market is controlled by a handful of companies. Shebinas are not making a fortune. If you ask them how much they make per month, they're not getting wealthy off alcohol.
Because it's of no use trading from these small areas. We're not making enough profits. It's just a top-up.
And in January this year, SAB workers were striking for more reward at the end of the day.
I would imagine that the overall number of direct employment in our industry has probably declined.
In 10 jaar hier gemaakt op club erop. De graven wordt 10, 600 rand. Dat is geld voor mij niet. Ik heb kan 2 kinders. Als je zwaar is zo, als je zwaar is zo.
Laat maar eens zitten. Laat maar eens zitten. Zeg maar nog wat geld tegen.
Meer met dat wat bier. Want die komt dan. Die geld wat we voor ons geven. Kan ons niet. Tevreden voelen aan mij niet.
Maar je betaalt niet mee voor ons.
Weet je lijst?
Zeg je hoe maar op 630 gaan. Dat is niet reality.
Ik ga naartoe.
Dat is duur.
Je moet water.
Dat is water. Waar is water? Dat is ja, hij zei niet. Dat is ja, hij zei niet. Als je hem ons is zwaar.
Shame on you. because your products have been purchased in our townships. And your products have really given birth to the problems that we have.
A third of the Western Cape health budget is spent on alcohol-related trauma.
So the cost of drunken driving, violence, trauma,
alcoholism, violence and fetal alcohol syndrome.
We're probably looking at close to 20 billion rands lost per year.
Costs a lot of money.
There's a massive cost in terms of youth development and education, the loss of employment, productivity and absenteeism.
When they get their money, they get drunk and they don't go to work, you know what I mean? So it creates a poverty.
The huge economic burden from crime hasn't been mentioned.
There's a crime. I don't understand.
Massive impact on our economy and particularly tourism.
You may make a strong argument that alcohol is creating crime, but so does destroying 100,000 jobs.
We're not saying shut down shebeens. We're saying limit the number of liquor outlets, and for those who can't go into that industry, remain in that industry, divert them to economic alternatives.
Let us not be profit-driven. Let us also think about the child next door.
There's a huge tech industry that makes lots of people lots of money. Should we be legalizing that and promoting that as well? Maybe start up a South African cocaineries?
The one who lives in the poorest of the places is the one who gets drunk more. Even more. How are you going to afford this thing if you can't even afford the bread for that one kid of yours? It's like, no, I didn't buy it. It's on credit. If you can ask, where can you get beer? It's going to give you to 10 places.
I've seen people stealing their own furniture and sell them to the shebeen owners. They just get poorer and poorer.
The majority of people in deprived neighborhoods who are government's concern don't profit from the sale of alcohol.
Mature adults have a right to make choices about what they are going to drink.
We're in a free society and people are entitled to do anything that's legal.
We have a responsibility as the provincial parliament to intervene to protect communities, and we're going to do that very, very strongly.
We are looking for a development, not a destruction in our community. Then we see the future of our children.
Our vested interest is in the health of the majority of the population. What your vested interests are, I'll leave for the audience to decide. People are forced to listen to how great drinking is all the time, through advertisements on television, radio, billboards, etc.
True happiness comes from within a bottle.
How often do people hear any other message other than that?
You must watch out. You're drinking too much.
I definitely need to cut down on how much I drink.
Alcohol use and the role that it plays in our culture are quite entrenched.
We look to influence and develop new norms and new social norms, and that's how things change.
We were not born drunk, so why should you change to alcohol in order to have the courage to face life?
All you need is energy, vibe, that's all you need.
No matter where you come from, no matter what area you live in, you can make a difference.